Hey folks, this is Josh Wilkenope from RJK Land and Cattle. Hey, I was just going to come to you guys today and tell you a little bit about what's going on in the beef industry right now. Everybody from small cow-calf producers on up to the packing industry. So right now we've got some unfair cattle markets at the moment. We've got 4 major companies that control 80% of the packing industry. And what that's doing to us is it's a trickle-down effect. Those 4 companies have possibly been colluding together on prices. They've been bringing in imported beef that's a cheaper price, flooding the market with those imports, causing our domestic prices to go down. All along, since January 1st of this year, our boxed beef prices continued to climb. Last week it was reported that packers were making about a $1,500 a head margin off of the cattle that producers have been sending to those markets. So part of the reason for that being is that we've got what's called formula beef, where those cattle are contracted to the packer. Well, those formulas have been about 75% of the market going into those packers. The packers have been buying off of that formula. Where only 25% of those have been cash negotiated sales. And the cash negotiated sales is where our price discovery comes from in our markets. It allows us to kind of know what those cattle are worth. Well, the problem is whenever you get only 25% of those cash negotiated prices, those may be the low end of the totem pole as far as quality of calves, and so that's your prices aren't going to be really a good representation of the cattle that are all out there and coming in. So thanks to that, our markets have been dropping rapidly. Last week a person could have sold a fat calf at the sale barn for 84 to 90 cents a pound. And those are 1,200 pound calves. 900 pound calves bringing around $1. The lighter end calves were still bringing pretty decent price. They've got quite a bit of value to add to them before they're ready to go into the feedlot. But the biggest, so we're fighting these challenges in the cattle industry right now. We're also fighting, thanks to COVID-19, we've seen a bunch of hoarding on beef. We've seen a bunch of people getting sick as far as at the packing plants, or workers not coming into the plant. And so the plants have been shutting some doors. They've been slowing production, but our imports last week were around 45,000 metric tons of imported beef. The imports have stayed at the same exact level that they have since the first of the year. And they're tracking right along with what last year's imports were. The USDA came out last week and said, hey, we're gearing up, getting ready to start euthanizing our domestic beef supply. If things go bad, we're just gonna do away with it. Brazil, the JBS, they came out and said, hey, don't worry about it. We'll bring in imported beef from Brazil and Argentina, and we'll cover your beef needs. All of this is adding up to our meat packers trying to vertically integrate our beef industry. They've already vertically integrated the hogs, they've already vertically integrated the chickens, and they're trying to vertically integrate our beef industry and cause them to have control of the beef industry from the time that my calves are born and out here on this pasture all the way until that meat is sold to you at the grocery store. We're trying to fight against this as beef producers. The more beef producers we have, the more packing plants we have, and the more feedlots we have, the better off this country is. And the better off this industry is, because competition is great. Competition is always good. And so we're trying to keep that. One way that we're pushing for this is mandatory country of origin labeling. And by doing mandatory country of origin labeling, we're giving you as the beef consumer the choice to choose between an imported product and a domestically raised product. that's really all that boils down to, is we're giving the consumers a choice when they go to the grocery store of which product they want. And by doing that, the laws of supply and demand will take over. And if the United States product is in demand, there will be more of a demand for it, and we can hopefully prevent in the future things that are going on right now. So in the future, we can have that demand for domestic product, and we won't be slaughtering our domestic animals. The imports will go down because that beef is not in as much demand, and our domestic cattle will continue to be processed. The other thing that we're fighting for is a 50% cash negotiated trade. That way our markets continue to stay competitive whenever it comes time to sell those cattle to the packer, and that is needed as well. There are pushes for lower numbers, but we always, anytime you negotiate something, you always start high and negotiate from there. But these things are critical right now in the beef industry to keep it free and to keep our industry competitive and to become profitable again. And so that's what we're doing here, and that's kind of the update of what's going on in the beef industry right now. And we're looking for support for the MCOOL petition, so that's at www.demandUSAbeef.com. I encourage everybody, it doesn't matter if you're a cattle producer or a consumer, you can sign that petition, because we're bringing both worlds together and showing that there is a demand for United States born, raised, and processed beef. And so anyway, thank you for your time from beautiful Western Oklahoma. You all have a great day.